to the William Mattar Thursday Night Lights, live on My TV Buffalo, presented by Stellar Roofing.
We've got a good one here tonight on the banks of the Niagara River. Here in Buffalo on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights presented by Stellar Roofing. A pair of remaining unbeatens in division as the McKinley Macs at 2-1 overall host the Williamsville East Flames 3-0 here on this young season. Great to be back with you here inside the broadcast booth with my friend and partner Scott Pilkey, our coach. I'm Brian Triple here from Tyler Millen coming up here in just a little bit. So both these teams 2-0 in division, Scott, and a ton of talent all over the field here tonight.
Yeah, one team is very steady, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and the other one has just got talent all over it, and you'll see that here tonight.
Yeah, that's the case with these Macs of McKinley. They're averaging nearly 600 yards per game, but the challenge tonight, can Anthony Martis go toe-to-toe with the quarterback, Kalon Ford, on the other side? We'll see him in just a moment. Martis coming off back-to-back games with 4 touchdown passes, our key player to watch for Williamsville East. What we just talked about him for McKinley, Kalon Ford, a 1,000-yard passer and rusher. Last year, he's well on his way to surpassing both those marks here in his senior season. He's averaging almost 14 yards per carry here on the year, and you can see he leads Section 6 with his 534 rushing yards. Now tonight, Stellar Roofing, keys to the game, the best at what we do.
Well, for Williamsville East, they've got to get the run game going early to control the clock, and they have to win the turnover battle. On McKinley's side of the ball, speed is their top thing, and you got to start out fast and be physical throughout the course of the game.
Some light showers here prior to the game tonight, but it looks like the weather is going to hold off. We've got a great night, a blustery night maybe a little bit, as you see the flag flying there in the wind for high school football on this Thursday night kickoff coming your way in just a moment here on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. Brian Davis, in his 7th year as the head coach at McKinley, wants to see his team put 4 quarters together here tonight. 2-1 on the year, and he's done a great job taking this team to the Section 6 championship last year, going head-to-head with the 8th year and veteran Mike Torillo on the other side for Williamsville East. He's been around the block a time or two, and he has his team unbeaten 3-0 on the year as the rain starts to fall here again at kickoff tonight. For Williamsville East, Jack Landreth has it teed up. We are ready to go. Temperature 68 degrees. Heavy rain here at the moment, but expect that to move through and then should have dry conditions the rest of the game. Always dangerous. Cardell Staples, one of the best athletes in the area, along with Kylan Williams back deep for McKinley. Settle in. It's a Thursday night. We got a great matchup here. A couple of really good teams And the kickoff in the direction of Kylan Williams, and you see the slick conditions troubling Williams here as he adjusts and then accelerates. Still a really nice return out to the 33-yard line, and that's where we'll see this very dangerous McKinley max offense for the first time. It all goes through the quarterback, Kalon Ford.
Yeah, he is an exciting player. We were watching him beforehand, just the nature of how he moves around, and he is going to be that guy that they have to stop tonight. And the weather might help Williamsville East more than it will help the Max tonight, because if you can keep it just to the ground game, then you're taking away half of the incredible output that he's already managed this early in the season.
There you see some of his numbers. Those are his passing stats: 568 passing yards through 3 games and 534 rushing yards just for the quarterback alone. And on the first play, they will run the ball right up the middle and pick up 5 yards. And this is an offense that has been ahead of the chains all season long as we take a look at the starting lineup for the offense. Tonight it's brought to you by the law offices of William Matar. Ford with Moore, Staples, Liggins, Fryer, Daniels, a really dangerous group, but Staples his favorite target, and this time just gets it quickly into the hands of Braylon Fryer, who picks up a first down as he slices and dices for 6. That's an Interstate Batteries first down, and McKinley in rhythm here on the opening 2 plays.
You can already see what their attempt is. They're going to run the ball up the gut, keep you everything in the box, and then throw that ball out to the side like they just did. Nice little 1-2 combination there.
Wasting no time as the rain again falls heavily here along the banks of the Niagara as Anthony Moore picks up 3. And now we get to look finally at that defense for Williamsville East in our starting lineups again tonight, brought to you by the law office of William Matar. Hurt in a car, call William Matar. And this is a defensive front and linebackers that are going to have their hands full tonight with a team that wants to get downhill fast.
Yeah, Matthew Glennon just made a nice tackle, number 75 there, but that's going to be a key matchup all day for these guys.
Really like the senior Ryan Garrigan as well. He's had a nice start to the year along that defensive line. Staples in motion, and then the low snap, and Ford forced to pounce on the football. And you can see the heavy rain impacting McKinley here on their opening possession.
Well, it's like we were talking about the beginning of the game. What are the keys to the game? The keys to the game is about ball control, whether it's the clock or maintaining the ball. See, this is just a low snap. The ball's already wet, and that's not where you want your number 1 guy on the field covering the football. You want him going forward.
They really like their center, David Graves. He's a senior, along with Jameer Hemphill and Sammy Starks, a part of what is a really good offensive line for an offense that's averaging 572 yards per game here over the first 3 games of the year. This is Ford on the edge. A flag flies, but good gang tackling as he's strung out. Picks up just 3 despite all that horizontal yardage and some pushing and shoving after the play. We'll have to check on the marker here, and should be a 4th and long pending the penalty. Looks like it's going against McKinley. Our referee tonight, Tony Hazen. I think he's checking with Mike Torillo, the head coach of Williamsville, on the sideline. He signaled holding against the defense.
Well, what you can see here is, if it goes the other way, it is going the other way. But you can really tell what they're very well coached on the Williamsville East side. They pursued beautifully, and that's what they're going to have to do all night. That running laterally, if you see it now, number 2 does not take away the outside. That's a great job being outside. There's the hold right there. And number 8, you look at it, great outside, inside, and then plug action there on the way to tackle it. That's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah, a couple of cleanup items here. Liggins, number 22, for McKinley, the wide receiver with the hold, and then Horsman, the guy, number 8, swinging them back in. So they accept the penalty. So instead of a 4th and 14, you have 3rd and a mile here, 27, and you can see Ford making plays and then dropped. Great tackle in the open field by Jacoby Chambers. Who else? The leading tackler this year for Williamsville East.
Yeah, just a great job in the first series. You see him getting off blocks. Everybody stays in their lane. They're going to have 2 people in the block, and everybody is just breaking down, and that's a tremendous job finishing the play.
There's another flag on the field. It is another hold against McKinley. And this time it's declined by Williamsville East And on a 4th and about 21, that should bring on the punting unit.
This is key to what Williamsville East has to do all night long. This is their key for success tonight.
It is a high punt up into the wind with the slippery conditions, allow it to bounce. It does take a friendly roll for McKinley and is down just shy of the 35 at the 36 by Jacob Jaycox. And now we'll get a look at the Williamsville East offense. But what a start for their defense against this very dangerous McKinley Max team. Anthony Martis, we talked about going toe-to-toe tonight. He's had a really good balanced year as well. His job, more of a threat as a passer.
Well, you know, if you take away the passing game from McKinley, you're looking at some pretty even numbers for what Williamsville East has been able to produce. They got a big quarterback. We saw some speed option earlier. I doubt you're going to go with that with this kind of weather, but it looks like it's a part of their game, so I'll be interested to see if they keep that going.
Team 3-6 last year, already matching their win total from a year ago, averaging 316 total yards, 153 on the ground, and 163 through the air here in the early season. The football comes out on the opening play. It's loose, and it looks like McKinley has it. Question is, was the runner down first? And it looks like they're going to call the runner down on the play, and it will remain Williamsville East football, and it will be second down. We're going to get another look here at the replay and see if that is the right call. It's a pickup of 3. I believe it was Skyer Smith carrying it up the middle. And a lot of bodies there. It's got really hard to see when the football comes out.
Yeah, and we have the benefit of looking at it again, but here they just did the same play going off to the left now. So the consistency of their game is going to be, they've got to control the ball, got 3rd and manageable here. Now this will allow you to have the run or the pass.
No gain for Will Kowalski as we take a look at that Williamsville East offense. You can see he's a part of, they like to get the ball into the hands of Smith, their leading rusher, but Horsman, Santoro, Kowalski, Kaiser all factor in both the passing and running attack for Williamsville East.
And this is going to be this is a very quick front line defensively, and it's a small but athletic line offensively for Williamsville East. And we're starting to see some good push. So I'm interested to see what we're going to have here down in the trenches.
First pass of the game with this wet football, and it sails over the head of Noah Kaiser, who was open right near the sticks, and McKinley forces a 3-and-out and a punt.
Weather is going to play an issue here tonight, obviously.
It is a significant factor so far here in the football game. Good gain on first down, but nothing the rest of the way. Here's a look at that defense for McKinley quickly, and they force a 3-and-out and a punt. Minter, Hemphill up front. They live in the backfield of this team. In just 3 games, 23 sacks over the first 3 games this season. Trouble again with the football. It's picked up, and he's not going to try to punt the ball, and Joe Santoro hemmed in, and a flip of the field. McKinley takes advantage of a miscue now, and will get the football at the 27-yard line and heading in when we come back. Scoreless and damp here early. You're watching the law office of William Matar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stella Roofing. Yeah, wet weather, definitely a factor. Great field position for the Macs when we come back. Welcome back. No score. Williamsville East goes 3-and-out, set up to punt, but then trouble with the snap for the punter, Joe Santoro, and McKinley takes over in terrific field position here, Scott, for an offense that was held under wraps on the first possession, but really hard to do against this potent team when they're set up inside the opponent's 30-yard line.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to give Ford a short field because that's going to result in quick scoring drives, and these guys already show that they can do this. At least the first 3 weeks. Great job.
Man, that is a form tackle and then some, as Anthony Moore picks up 2. And once again, guess who? Jacoby Chambers leading the way, that senior. He is a great player coming up from the linebacker spot.
Yep. you've got a lot of support here. Number 75 has already been on 2 or 3 tackles in just the first series, so they're going to be running to that right side. At least they've been testing it. I'll be interested to see if you see some variation, because they've had some really good success getting outside on the edge.
Just saw Chambers. He's led the team in tackles over each of the first 3 games this season. Ford, shake and bake, gets to the sideline, gets to the marker, and appears to have enough for an Interstate Batteries first down. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable, and they will move the chains on an 8.5-yard pickup.
Great job blocking downfield by his wide receivers, but you can see what makes him so dangerous. He reads the blocks in front of him, and he runs with his eyes, and that's a great talent.
Makes life easy for Brian Davis as his team battles the rain here. You see he's still falling really heavy. Thought we were going to escape the rain here tonight. Inside the Willoughby Insurance red zone for the first time tonight. Another low snap. Ford picks it up. And then Ford jets to the outside. No one will touch him. Into the end zone. He dives. He's there. Touchdown.
And that was actually pretty well defended. It's like we saw it the first time. They kept the edge, but it's about getting to the edge as fast as you can, and no one was going to outrun Mr. Ford here. Look at him read. Just lets everybody block, and he makes everybody miss with a little stutter step there. I stutter because he moves so fast, but now you see him jump into the end zone here. What a great athlete.
Great effort by Patrick Horsman. Just got his fingertips on his shoelaces as he dove inside the pylon. That is an ECMC touchdown. Go where the Bills go, and you can just see how dangerous Kaylon Ford is. That already his 5th rushing touchdown of the year, and he turns a broken play into 6.
Well, that's the deal. He makes everybody else around him look great. But everybody's doing their job. The offensive line staying on blocks, and, hey, Williamsville East defended that well, but just too dominant of an athlete at that edge.
Another low snap. Ford handles it, gets it to Moore, who gets it to the goal line, and then muscles his way in for the 2-point conversion. And it's an 8-0 McKinley lead here in the rain. And you see Brian Davis fired up on the sideline. So his offense is on the board first. To 8-0 McKinley in front here in the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stella Roofing. Mike Torillo and that Williamsville East sideline. I'm not sure how you can slow down a guy like Kaylon Ford. Even when you think you got him, you don't have him. That's how dangerous he is.
Well, especially when you got the rain, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Mother Nature's on your side right here, at least in trying to stop him. But it's a pretty bad dude when he can overcome the elements.
Yeah, it was, for the most part, dry for the entire duration of warm-ups. But this band coming off the lake all of a sudden, yeah, I guess better rain than snow, right? This
beautiful Buffalo, baby. Beautiful Buffalo.
You got to be accustomed to playing in these conditions to be successful in this area.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Brian Tripp, Scott Pilkey. We're going to hear from the third member of our crew, Tyler Millen, who is battling the elements in just a little bit. McKinley 2-1 on the year, the only loss to Lancaster, and they were in that game. They had the lead going into the fourth quarter. They were up 2 scores late third quarter, and I've talked about the message from Brian Davis coming in 4 quarters. Just ran out of gas in that game, lost it by 1 point in OT.
Yeah, and that's the difference. I mean, when you look at what they did in the very first game of the year against Lancaster, Lancaster is one of the bigger programs in the area, and McKinley has represented the city of Buffalo beautifully.
Noah Kaiser all the way out near the 44. Did the football come out again? Nope, Kaiser's got it. And pretty good field position here for Williamsville East as they'll get the ball for the second time after a stop early. Then they had the ball, but then had trouble, and it set up a terrific field position for McKinley. So let's bring in Tyler Millen, though, now on the sidelines. We were talking about the wet conditions. I think he's trying to stay dry underneath the bleachers.
I don't blame him. I mean, hey.
Finding a way to stay dry here under the bleachers, as we have seen earlier. This is an electric McKinley offense entered today. Second highest scoring in all of Section 6, and they've scored 120 points through 3 games this season, and simply put, it is nasty what this offense is able to do. They combined for 495 rushing yards last game, and they put up 42 first-quarter points over the last 2 games. But this is a Williamsville East defense that entering today had only allowed 7 points in first quarters all season, and also entering today had just 6 points allowed in the last 10 quarters of football. So far, we've seen an outstanding performance from Jacoby Chambers, and he's going to have to anchor this defense if they're going to want to try to slow down this offense.
Yeah, they're going to need good field position too, Tyler. I think that's the biggest factor so far, right? Scott McKinley got great field position. They cashed it in because of a miscue. And talking about nasty, the conditions pretty nasty for Tyler down there on the field. Short gain on first down, so now a 2nd and 9, and Martis is bottled up and dropped, and they have lived in the backfield all year long. Sacked by Jameer Hill, the senior, and a 3rd and long upcoming here for Williamsville East, and things are going the wrong way. It's snowballing here against the Flames offense.
Well, that's matches his number. That's his 6th sack of the season, matches his number, and these guys are just tenacious. And right now you don't have that check down because they're getting to you so fast. You want to have a little bit more time to throw it out to the running back or to your check down wide receiver, but he didn't have time to do it that time.
He had 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a couple of sacks last week in a 54-8 win at Hamburg. They put up some big numbers. Great burst off the edge by Cameron Minter. He broke that play up, and then the ball flies out of the hands of the quarterback, Martis. It lands at the 46-yard line and is recovered by McKinley. It's all McKinley right now. The Macs have all the mojo.
And, you know, we always talk about the keys to the game, and I think both coaches are talking about controlling the clock and owning the football. And you're just seeing here great extra effort, but you got to tuck that ball away. He's got it out like a bread basket, as we called it back in the day, a loaf of bread. And, hey, that was toast.
And McKinley with terrific field position. Marcus Daniels recovers the fumble at his own 47-yard line, and McKinley now looks to add to an 8-0 lead. I brought up Cameron Minter coming off the end, both ends, in fact, into the backfield there. No time for the quarterback Martis to set up to pass. Ford scored on a 17-yard touchdown run his last time, and it is Moore not contacted until he got to the 50, but then dropped right there after a 3-yard pickup. Moore's averaging 12 yards per carry on the year. Ford almost 14 yards per carry coming in. And so far on the designed plays, the Williamsville East defense has held strong. It's been the broken plays.
Yeah, and again, the speed to the outside will overcome technique. But if you can get a little bit more consistent, get a little bit of a stop here, get them into a 3rd and long, then you got a shot.
All set up by Marcus Daniels, recovering that fumble. Not a turnover on the first possession for Williamsville East. A turnover on downs as they botched the snap on the punt. And a turnover here on this possession and go right back to the ground attack. It's another 3-yard pickup as Moore takes it across midfield to the 47-yard line. Let's take a look at that fumble once again that set McKinley up with terrific field position.
Again, you can see he's got great ability. Nice job jumping over the top, but he comes in, and you got to protect the football. Henley comes in there, 6'1", 240 pounds, and you got to see somebody like that. He was upfield, and he reversed his field to come back, retraced his steps. Really well-trained football play. That's why he created that opportunity that McKinley is provided now.
His 2nd forced fumble of the year. Kylan Williams lines up in the backfield. He gets the carry, and Williams right near the line to gain. Depending on the spot, going to get the first down just by the nose of the football. Another first down brought to you by Interstate Batteries.
These guys are doing a nice job up front. You can start to see they're getting settled in now. The snaps are back at the waistline where they should be, and McKinley is starting to roll.
Brian Tripp, Scott Pilkey, Tyler Millen, great to be with you here on this Thursday night. McKinley already an 8-0 lead and back into Flames territory. Again, bobbled that exchange. Kylan Williams hangs on to the football somehow as he is thrown down for a 2-yard loss on the play.
That was Ryan Garrigan. Ryan Garrigan has 14 tackles on the season, making that number 15. Oh, sorry about that. Gavin Parrish, 5'11", 190 pounds. Great play.
And again, that slippery football nearly caused a turnover there. Parrish was there. I'm not sure how Williams hung on to the football, but great burst up front from this defensive front. And a strong defensive line, you feel like, for Williamsville East with Lickner, Glennon, Parrish, and Garrigan, all guys that have stood out over the course of the year.
Well, they're athletic. You see them come off the ball. They get their hands on the offensive line quick, and they're getting some penetration.
On 2nd and 12, Ford thought about passing, now tucks it, runs forward. It looked like he was across the line of scrimmage when he threw the football, but there is no flag on the field as he completed it to Nazir Liggins, and now there is a flag back here at the 44-yard line. He was across the line of scrimmage.
But just that wherewithal, he probably could have gained half as what he just threw for.
Pass. Again, Tony Hazen is our referee tonight. Just any body part has to be at the line of scrimmage. Let's see here if he has anything.
You see him scans the field. He steps up. He wants to run it, but his eyes are always downfield.
Forward pass.
The line of scrimmage was the 45. You could see his entire body across, in fact, all the way up to the 44.
Well, and while that may be a penalty, just to be able to see that young man while he's running, seeing that opportunity downfield, obviously he wanted to take it earlier, but he still has the vision to create a play like that.
It is a loss of down, so 3rd and 16. Hasn't always been smooth for McKinley tonight so far.
No, they're still working through their stuff, but you see the bursts of talent, and if they can get it together.
Speaking of getting it together, Ford trying to line up Williams for extra protection in the backfield. Steps up, now floats it again down the sideline. Staples wide open. Staples trying to shrug off a tackler. Hands it off to Liggins. That play's still alive before he is belted out of bounds down at the 11-yard line. What an alert play to hand it off to number 22 and tack another yard or two onto the big pass completion on a 3rd and long.
Well, look at the awareness, the pocket awareness of the quarterback. He rolls to his left. There's nothing there. He comes back and makes it happen. And this is something he doesn't have the time to set his feet. He's athletic enough to come back around, see his guy downfield, and make a big play like we talked about previous play.
Talk about sticking with the play. They're inside the Willoughby Insurance red zone. Go to Williams here. Williams cut down right at the line of scrimmage.
Now that one was Ryan Garrigan. I got him wrong the last time. Ryan is number 40. He had 14 tackles coming in. That's his 15th tackle of the game. And he came in there with a little bit of a force. I really love the way, East is playing tough. And this was not an easy first quarter for either team. But Williamsville East is playing tough down here. Let's see if they can manage to get a stop.
The Flames are keeping the Macs off schedule here so far in the game. Kalon Ford hurdles 1. Tries to dance his way through, picks up 4 on what may be the final play of this opening quarter. And it looks like we'll have a 3rd and 6 to start the second quarter with McKinley trying to add to an 8-0 lead when we come back. So the Macs have the lead. They are looking to add to that lead. And an entertaining opening quarter and a wet opening quarter here in Buffalo. You're watching the Law Office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights presented by Stellar Roofing. Tonight's closed captioning is exclusively brought to you by Buffalo Fresh Roof. There is Brian Davis on the McKinley sideline. His Macs have an 8-0 lead on the move and facing a 3rd and 6 here inside the 10-yard line, looking to add to that lead against Williamsville East after a fast-moving and entertaining opening quarter. Anthony Moore goes up the middle, appears to have perhaps a first down as he's brought down around the 2-yard line. And they're going to say he's about a yard shy there where they officially spot the football. And this Williamsville East defense is trying to hold McKinley in check right here. See if they want to bring on any type of kicking unit or go for it. You can see the play made up front.
They're starting to get some push, but again, Williamsville East is playing tough on the inside. You've got really good contact going on. I'm very impressed with both sides of the ball right now. They've been playing some clean football, and I think the only sloppy nature has been because of the weather.
A little bit surprising to have that wet weather here tonight. Ford with a man in motion. 4th down, Ford takes it himself, looks to get to the edge, then he shows some toughness and some muscle to the goal line. They'll have to unpile the players at the goal line. And he has a first down. He is marked down inside the 1-yard line. That first down brought to you by Express Windows, now installing windows as low as $329 within 5 to 6 weeks. And I'll tell you what, they had Ford bottled up on that play, but he showed that he's got an element of physicality to his running style.
Well, even when it looks like it was a broken play, but he tried to make something out of it and still got the first down. He opened up the wrong way, or the running back went the wrong way, but he still was able to bring it to where he needed to be. That's just great spatial awareness. He knows where he has to be on the field.
Avery Stone is the deep man here in the I formation. The ball basically kissing the goal line. Instead, they hand it off to the fullback, Jameer Hill, and Jameer Hill is in for the touchdown. And McKinley cashes in, leads it 14-0 to open up this second quarter.
Well, you followed big number 52 there, Jameer Hill, and they got their second score of the night.
So Jameer follows Jameer, and that's a recipe for success for this McKinley offense. And they show you they can be physical as well, and that's something that Brian Davis talked to us about, wanting to add that element to their game. Go right back to Jameer Hill and finds just a crease, and he's in for 2, and it is a 16-0 McKinley lead. And this offense down inside the 5-yard line cashes in for a touchdown and then follows up with another 2-point play.
Well, you're looking here at guys like David Gray, number 56. These guys are getting push, and this is where they have to make their stand. And they're starting to reestablish the line of scrimmage. And this consistency of this offense has depended on the consistent play of the O-line.
So that is a Kaleida Health touchdown, and it is a 16-0 McKinley lead here in the rain. Stay tuned for the UB Bulls halftime show. UB Bulls football, family affordable fun. We'll showcase our Aesthetic Associates Center Scholar Athletes presented by Dr. Todd Shatkin, and we'll have highlights from Thursday Night Lights and Friday Night Rivals from across the country. First half highlights and stats from here as well, all coming up at the half with our UB Bulls halftime show. Couple of opportunities for Williamsville East to get off the field. 3rd and longs, a 4th and short, and you can't give this McKinley offense second life because they will make you pay.
Well, they're playing tough enough to stay in the game, but the key turnover, you got to run the quarterback in their offense, but you can't turn the ball over. And right now, that's the difference in this game.
And it is really coming down now here as well. James Lord with a knuckling kickoff that is scooped up all the way back at the 25-yard line by Will Kowalski. Kowalski runs into pile, stayed on his feet, takes it out to the 41. Really nice job handling that skipping kick in this wet weather.
Well, that's what you got to love about watching these kids out here. You know that they're not just one-sport athletes. The guy's probably a great shortstop or a baseball player. Or, that's the hand-eye coordination that you build all playing year-round, and you've got a lot of great athletes on both teams right now on this Thursday Night Lights for us.
McKinley defeated Williamsville East 22-8 last year. Williamsville East did its part. The same thing we've seen here so far, but they were able to make just enough plays to stay in the game. Feels like a big drive for this offense that has been slowed down by the rain. The pass almost intercepted. Marcus Daniels got his hands on the throw, intended for the big wideout Horsman, but that was right to Daniels, and he nearly made him pay.
Well, you got good pass pro, but again, the ball comes out high, and it lofted on him a bit. That's got to be because of the wet football, obviously.
And we've seen Martis miss high on a couple of his few pass attempts here tonight.
Yeah, he's usually very steady with his delivery, for the amount of time that he has thrown the football.
Came in completing 66% of his passes, in fact, and 4 touchdown passes in each of the last 2 games, as we spotlighted in the open. That's a dart to Will Kowalski. He goes down just a 3-yard pickup, though, as he ran that little out route.
Well, you're going to see them try to move outside to the edge if they're going to get the little ball, the little short route out, take what they give them. This is what East has to do now. In the second quarter here, they have to control the clock. They have to move the ball downfield.
First catch for Kowalski this week after 7 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown grab last week. A 3rd and 7 for Mike Torillo's offense. That pass rush has been disruptive so far here against Anthony Martis, the junior quarterback. Has some time here, goes over the middle, and it is through the hands of Horsman and intercepted by Daniels. Who else? That's the second turnover he's got here tonight for McKinley, and they'll have the ball right near midfield.
One of the great things you're seeing is, while they have tremendous senior talent on McKinley, they also have tremendous junior talent. And that's what we're talking about with Marcus Daniels. Again, the drop back, the delivery, very nice throw, a little bit behind him, but you got to catch on to that. Great coming back up for the football. Good second effort. Turn the ball over.
Daniels had his hands on a pass earlier on that drive. Couldn't make the catch. This time on the ricochet, makes the catch. Recovered a fumble earlier on in this first half, and he's having a terrific start to this game, and McKinley a chance to break it open here with the ball again. Excellent field position starting in Flames territory, and it looks like Mike Torillo is going to take a timeout to get his group under wraps, and we're going to take it with them here. 9:22 to go, second quarter. McKinley up 16-0 and with the ball in Flames territory. When we come back here on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. And here is that interception by Marcus Daniels on the ricochet. During the fourth quarter of tonight's game, we'll be highlighting the school bus stop of the game. Perhaps it's that play right there. The law in every state requires drivers to always stop for a school bus when the stop arm is out and the red lights are flashing. And there is one of our nominees for the stop of the game. And McKinley, after the turnover, has excellent field position here as they pick up with 1st and 10 at the 49 of the Flames here with 9:22 to go in the second quarter.
Good opportunity by Coach T to bring the guys over, try to calm them down, keep them on task, stay in your gaps, keep your leverage.
Yeah, McKinley has all the momentum. The ball is back on the turf, and they get it right back. Ryan Garrigan, your guy. And we see the wet weather really creating havoc for both teams. Garrigan and Williamsville East with a much-needed takeaway.
And it's that kind of thing that is going to determine tonight's win. You've seen McKinley blowing everybody out so far except for Lancaster in week 1. But the turnovers we discussed in the beginning of the game, again, we've had low snaps. That was actually a great snap. And again, sometimes when your quarterback's eyes are up looking too much downfield, you got to take care of the ball first.
See if Williamsville East is able to run the football. However, it's been a pass-heavy offense. Timeout. With a plethora of receivers this year helping get them into rhythm. Timeout here by McKinley. So the Macs kind of following that same thing you said by Coach T. On the other side now, Coach D wants a timeout as well to regather his group on the quick change of possession. And now they're going to try to dial things up on that offense, as gives us a moment here to thank our food provider for our crew tonight, Happy. Call 716-400-0605 or go to www.happyandthefoods.com. And our crew was happy because of the great tacos that they had prior to tonight's game.
I want to change it to very happy. It was very good.
You had some of the chicken or the brisket there?
I had both.
Yeah, well, they need that fuel right now because of the unexpected heavy rain that's fallen here throughout the duration of this first half so far. And Scott, that wet weather and the rain is really impacting the football game.
Yeah, but, you see the guys are still playing tough. They're staying in their gaps. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So hopefully if they can eliminate losing the football, you're going to see them get back to who they are.
Quick pass play, but it's a screen pass. But that pass rush, too disruptive right off the bat. So the pass from Martis incomplete through the hands of Kyer Smith. If they can get their senior running back going, could take a little pressure off the junior quarterback Martis.
Yeah, I don't want, Williamsville East to think that they have to throw the ball all day here. They're only down, they're down 2 scores and two extra points. But, they've still got the ability to, control the ball here. This is the key point to their offense if it's going to get rolling at all.
Smith did surpass the century mark in each of the first 2 games of the season, trying to break a tackle. How about just drag Minter with him all the way down to the 41-yard line? That is a great, tough run of 7 yards for Kyer Smith.
Yeah, he's rushed the ball for 32 times, 231 yards, 6.1 per carry, and that's about keeping.
He is having a really good senior season. Last week was held in check, just had 19 yards, didn't matter, in what was a 35-6 win over Kenmore East. Now in a 3rd and 4 opens up the entire playbook. Had a little trouble with that snap and nowhere to go to Sean Henley, first to greet him and drop him for a 1-yard loss. Clean exchange. You certainly need to be clean. Any bit of hesitation against this McKinley defensive front that's been on the other side of the line of scrimmage, not only tonight but all year, is going to create massive problems for your offense.
I think what you're going to see here is a different change in the cadence. They're going to try to get 5 of that by drawing McKinley off because they obviously lost possession with a bad exchange on the punt prior. They're going for it here on 4th down.
Feel like they have to, down 16-0 against a dangerous offense on the other side. Good time to throw, but the pass behind the intended target. Good effort that time by Noah Kaiser, but Martis just off the mark here with the rain continuing to fall with 7:53 to go in the second quarter. McKinley gets the football back. These fans battling the elements here tonight. Tonight's closed captioning exclusively brought to you by Buffalo Fresh Roof. This is nothing new to find folks at Buffalo sitting out in all types of conditions to enjoy football, no matter what level of football it is.
Especially on the banks of the beautiful Niagara.
Yeah, it was a nice ride coming up here this afternoon. And here before the game, 68 degrees, a little bit muggy, and this rain really came out of nowhere. It's slowed down here, and let's see if that can help the McKinley offense get right back on track. Turned it over on their last possession. They want to get a dry football in. That could also help. Right now it's been problems between the center and quarterback for McKinley. They still have 16 points, but it just doesn't feel like a smooth operation tonight.
No, and I think that you're going to see Williamsville East will start going under center if they have to. Part of their offense is based on that misdirection.
Most of the McKinley offense is seeing what the quarterback Ford can do, but what a play by Theo Andradis coming off the edge to spin down Anthony Moore for a 3-yard loss.
Got a lot of quick guys there at the front 4 and their linebackers. They're no slouches up front. You're seeing here he breaks down perfectly, keeps square to the line of scrimmage, and slides to his left and tackles perfect open field tackle.
All right, what's the key there against that read option defensively? What are you reading? What's the quarterback have to do on the other side?
Well, it's called a feather technique, right? You're trying to stay square, so if there's a pitch or if the quarterback comes back on the option, he played it perfectly. It was perfect technique.
So again, behind the sticks here, 2nd and 13, a flag flies. The ball is out again. Moore fumbled the football. It was still loose along the sideline. Hot potato here tonight. It's going to be a hold on the offense.
Well, and that hold was directly created by the technique of the defensive end. They're really playing well. Good fundamental football by Williamsville East here tonight.
Tony Hazen has the call. Question. Holding. I think he went over to the sideline to see if Williamsville East wanted to accept the penalty. It was a 2nd and 13.
And you're looking at this great outside play, right? Tremendous job by the defense there. They're playing solid football. Coach T has his guys playing really sound fundamental techniques right now. See, that doesn't give up the outside, allows the backside to come in for the play. Great football.
A hit against Braylon Fryer, his own teammate. It was Andreas again off the edge, pressuring the quarterback and then tracking him down, jarring it free. Would have had a 3rd and about 15. Instead, they accept the penalty, 2nd and 23. So that's an interesting decision. We've already seen bite Williamsville East once here tonight, giving them an extra down to work with for this explosive offense. And it is Moore, and Moore gets the penalty yardage back, and he's out to the 42-yard line. Sets up a 3rd and 11 after a dozen yards on that 2nd down carry.
Yeah, these guys can hit you. Watch the left side of the line. Number 52 gets up on the 2nd level. We watched Matt Glennon, number 75, have some early success. That time he let the offensive lineman get into his body and get pushed.
See Moore, a nice compliment to Ford and his running ability there. In the backfield, has it now a 3rd and 12, and Ford fakes it to Moore, and there is Glennon to bring down Ford after 2 yards, and it ends up a 4th and 10 after all that. It's a 4th and long still for the McKinley offense.
Looks like, they've made their adjustments. They're staying true to their gap-oriented defense, and everybody's doing their job. And now you bring out the punter here for McKinley. That's a tremendous job when you're looking at down 16 against this powerful offense.
It is Cardell Staples going back to punt. He is a great athlete. And a pair of returners back for Williamsville East. And Williamsville East, which was behind the 8 ball here early, has settled back into this football game. A dangerous hop to field the punt. Patrick Horsman, who is then pummeled right at the 20-yard line, but hangs on to that wet football.
That's not just a moral victory for Williamsville East. That's they've got the ball back with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. If they can establish a drive, we've got a real good opportunity to go in down just 1 score.
Great open field tackle by Braylon Fryer. There is, though, a max player down on the field at the 30-yard line. And with that, we're going to step aside. So it will be Williamsville East football at their own 20 when we come back, trailing 16-0 here, about midway point of this 2nd quarter, here on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. Welcome back. Williamsville East with the football at its own 20-yard line. Great to see Antonio Broadus get up for McKinley and make his way back to the sideline. Tough night so far for Anthony Martis, just 1 for 6 through the air. They have yet to pick up a first down, this Flames offense. Looking to get Kyer Smith going, but nothing off the right side, and it will be 2nd and 10.
The O-line for Williamsville East has done a nice job so far against the front. The quarterback, when he has had time to throw, unfortunately has been off mark. But you're not seeing the 23 sack machine getting to the quarterback like you have. Now, they're stopping the run really well since they've started to establish the run here. But that's what you've got to do to at least control the clock and control the football.
Williamsville East will get the football to start the second half. Down the middle, right on the money this time. Martis to Kowalski, out to the 47. What a terrific throw.
Stood in there, steps up, makes a great throw. That's indefensible. You cannot, that's over the shoulder, and it's something that he stacked the DB perfectly. You couldn't have thrown the ball better. Nice play. And now they're up in the tempo here.
After an express windows first down, goes right back to Kowalski. He dives. He made a great diving catch on their last possession, just off his fingertips along the sideline, and incomplete. This tempo and rhythm appears to be helping the Flames offense a little bit.
Yeah, because, what you get that momentum shift from a great fourth down stand. You kept them in long. You got the ball back, and now you're starting to move the ball downfield. You got to get some belief system back in your team that's 3-0. They got to believe that they can compete against this team, and they're doing it right now. Great start to this drive.
And a pair of teams that are two of the remaining three unbeatens in their division, right? There's going to be points of adversity that you face throughout the course of a season. Martis sprints out, and pressure still able to get to Martis, and he's forced to throw it away, and 3rd and 10 coming up.
Well, you can see the pressure now that, they're starting to bring guys off the edge. You've got to take a look now at the type of routes that you're calling, because they are starting to bring heat off the edge, and the linebackers are scooting up closer. That's what allowed that seam route to be completed the last time they did it, and he had a sweet pocket around him to deliver that previous football.
Like they might bring a drive football into the game here before this 3rd and 10 as the rain again intensifies in what is likely a passing situation. So far it's been the passing game, and Kowalski on this possession on a terrific throw over the middle by Martis. And this time his throw is high, deflected, and incomplete, looking for Noah Kaiser. A pair of defensive backs had a shot at picking off that football. Kylan Williams was the last man sprawling for the Pigskin.
We've been talking about everybody else, but if you take a look at how nice the pocket is that the offensive line from Williamsville East is providing, they're doing a tremendous job with great pressure, but all the pressure is being funneled to the outside. Nothing is coming up the A-gap right now.
With the rain falling heavy again, Joe Santoro, at least an opportunity to flip the field here with 4:30 to go in the second quarter. Clean snap and a good punt by Santoro. And it's picked up by Staples at the 20. Staples, look out. Slips one tackle, slipped a couple of tackles. A flag flies as Staples takes it back. And Staples into the end zone for a touchdown. Another flag comes in on the play, but in all likelihood, this coming back. Looked like initially maybe a hold or a block in the back, and then some extracurricular activities as he took it 80 yards for a touchdown if it would stand.
What a nice run, huh? Sometimes you just sit there, you're not supposed to be talking about something. You just sit there slack-jawed going, wow, great athlete.
He's a dangerous player. Combination of Ford and Staples, what they can do off script for McKinley. You can see why this is one of the great teams here in Section 6 this year.
Holding on the return.
Looks like they'll only get the hold, and that will wipe out an 80-yard punt return touchdown for Cardell Staples. And here an opportunity for Williamsville East as it's marked off from the spot of the foul.
Yes, you see right there, the block came back, was necessary in order for him to break it out, but when your helmet is behind the back, it is always going to be it's always going to be called on you, but still, great vision of that young man. You just tell what a great athlete he is.
Yeah, it was on Nazir Liggins about the 40-yard line, so they'll spot it at the 30. Stay tuned for the UB Bulls halftime show. UB Bulls football, family affordable fun. We'll showcase our Aesthetic Associates Center Scholar Athletes presented by Dr. Todd Shatkin. Have highlights from around the country, highlights from here, and stats, and a whole lot more coming up at the half. So far, the stats not gaudy tonight for Kalon Ford as he's run out of bounds right at the original line of scrimmage.
Well, essentially, you've cut the McKinley offense in half, and what when you look at what Coach T has done with his defense, they're in a 4-4 with a cover 3. They have 8 guys in the box, and everybody knows what they're doing. They're not over-penetrating. They're playing half-man on the D-line. They're holding their gap, and the linebackers are flowing, and they're getting a lot of people from the outside, the inside, and then the top plug type of tackling that they have to do, and they're doing it every play.
Well, the rain has taken Staples in the passing attack out of McKinley's hands as Ford gets to the sideline, tries to walk the tightrope. He's chased out of bounds after a 3-yard pickup. It'll set up a 3rd down and 5. So McKinley really one-dimensional. Now, they're great at running the football, but it does help when you have that speed threat and the ability to go deep. You can put more guys in the box.
Well, and the technique that we're talking about right now, you get talent versus technique, and if you get a little weather in there, now things really start to balance out. But it's not to say that McKinley hasn't been impressive, very impressive in the first half.
Capitalizing on really good field position for each of their 2 touchdowns. Kylan Williams barrels forward, has 8 yards, maybe 9 yards on the play, and a 1st down brought to you by Express Windows. Now installing windows as low as $329 within 5 to 6 weeks. What a run.
You see the counter tray here with they're pulling the backside guard and tackle. That's a new wrinkle in their offense, but that's going to bring their ability to get around the great technique, the edge that they've been holding at Williamsville East so far. Get the ball out to the side, nice little pickup.
Yeah, that's Staples for 3. Then he is stapled down by a trio of defenders. Cooper Rung, who has made a few plays tonight for Williamsville East, a part of that tackle. Clock at 2:56. And stopped at the moment. We have another penalty on the flag.
Formation, 5 in the backfield.
Yes, we do, and those penalties starting to add up here against the Macs, who have 2 timeouts still to go here with under 3 minutes to play in this first half. And it is pouring.
Yeah, that's sheets. That's not your camera, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at it like it's a shower curtain right now.
It is really, really coming down. I think right in the open I said, we think it's going to stay dry tonight, and it's been anything but. Just look at the football. Imagine handling that wet pigskin.
You jinxed it just like all of our weather people do around here. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day, 12 inches of snow later.
I didn't know that was the case with the rain, too, tonight. 2.5 to go. Another low snap. Ford picks it up. This is where he's been at his best tonight on broken plays and can't escape and recover after the bad snap again. A flag comes in late. And this may be against Williamsville East after they had McKinley go in the wrong direction. There's a ton of bodies in there. Let's check on the marker. Tony's going to let us know.
That ball foul, unsportsmanlike.
No, it's on McKinley. Let's see if we can get another look at maybe the replay there. But bad snaps and trouble with the wet football continue to be the story.
Well, and that's going to increase the frustration of everybody. These guys are used to it going their way. They're used to imposing their will on people. And right now, mixture of the bad snaps, the weather, and a couple extra penalties that I know Coach Davis doesn't allow.
Somewhere in the middle of that pile, something happened that they didn't like. It. I guess it's that little shove there at the end from Anthony Johnson. And just when we said it was pouring before, it's coming down even harder now.
Oh, we were on the banks of the river.
We're in the
now
river.
Now we're in the river. The mighty Niagara.
A first and, yes, your screen is right. It is a first. You know what? Make it a 2nd and 35 because the penalty was after that first down play. So you don't replay the down to the dead ball foul. It's a 2nd and 35. 2nd and 35 and a high snap again over the head of Ford, who slides down at the 5. Timeout Williamsville East with 2:08 to go. We were talking about timeouts for McKinley looking to take the ball in. And now they're going the wrong direction. We're going to have a 3rd and nearly 50 yards coming up.
Well, what you're seeing here right now is they're going to have to fundamentally change their game plan. You know, we talked about their option of coming up under center. I don't know if that is a big adjustment, but the rain in Spain doesn't just fall on the plane. kind of messing up with our playing field here. But what a great equalizer, isn't it?
I don't know if you're going to start singing Rihanna or CCR or what we're going to do here. It is absolutely coming down right now here in Buffalo, New York. Is this to the point where you don't love it as much as a football player? As a defensive player, you might love it right now. And yes, a 3rd and 48 is upcoming here in this monsoon.
Well, the best part is there's no thunder and lightning. You know, the rain you can play in.
I'm not sure that I've seen a game in this intense of precipitation in a really, really long time. They do go under center here, Scott, and still have trouble with the snap. Ford able to hold on to the football as he was dropped immediately. Again, Andradis and a whole bunch in there for Williamsville East. Kyer Smith, I think, was poking his head in as he was up at the line of scrimmage from the defensive backfield, and another timeout as you see trouble with the snap again. And
they're coming off the blocks. Everybody, Kyer Smith comes up. He's getting established, and they're trying to establish him with the run game in this last quarter. But he's also been doing a good job on defense.
And Williamsville East uses its final timeout of the opening half. And I mean, at this point, you have a 4th and 50. Yes, a 4th and 50. We have to get to the other 46 for a first down. But if this rain doesn't slow down, how can he even get the snap back and get a clean punt away?
At this juncture, it might be smarter to take the safety.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if he's smart, you take the safety, so you're not giving up the touchdown. That's just you got to use everything as a coach here. What makes best sense? Take the punt or just take it right out of the back of the end zone.
And even if you give up 2 points, you flip the field back the other way, and they have a longer way to go.
It's a 2-point conversion. They still got to have 2 scores.
Staples is going to punt it. He gets it away. It is a line drive kick and a really good kick. And it bounces and then is finally recovered by Will Kowalski, who contacted the football, then had to pounce on the football. And it ends up being a 55-yard punt to the 41-yard line.
That was one of the best kicks you could have asked for out of that. Tremendous job by the snap, hold, and kick. That's a great job. And that is probably one of the smarter things that we're seeing here tonight. The special teams, look at this. Great job. 1-2 step, doesn't take a 3-step, and then it turns over exactly the way it's supposed to, and he gets a bounce. Great job.
And with
Excellent job.
With 2 return men back, Scott, you think, no way that ball's getting past us there, and it still does. And they end up going under center here, no timeouts, and try to run the football. You would suspect with all that misdirection, trouble with that snap, and Martis falls on the fumble. See if McKinley wants to start using its timeouts again. Rain is starting to lighten just a bit. 95 seconds left here in the opening half. A 16-0 McKinley lead. Williamsville East will get the football to start the second half. So they do have a chance to make it a 1-score game and double up here. But Mother Nature probably saying otherwise at the moment. Williamsville East only has 1 first down here in the first half. And they're just, I think, content to run the clock down. Play clock down, final seconds. Do snap the football, run that power right up the gut for 4. Your guess is as good as mine there in the middle of the pile with a ton going on. Looked like Jacoby Chambers, who's had a nice game on the defensive side for a 3-yard pickup. And I mean, is it a good thing to go in and try to dry off at halftime, or is this one where you just want to stay out there and keep going?
Well, I think you might see the preamble of what they're going to have to come out with in the second half if the weather is the same. We talked about this is part of their offense. This is a successful part of their offense, and if this is the only way you can control the football, then this is what they've got to do to move the ball downfield.
If this continues, though, really, really difficult to come back down 2 scores, and in fact 16 points, a couple of touchdowns, and a couple of 2-point conversions. Chambers runs out the half, a 4th and 2. And even with Ford, McKinley not going to mess around. They're up 16-0, and it is halftime here in a downpour in Buffalo. Wow, that is some heavy rain falling right here at Riverside High School.
I've never seen anyone drown on a football field before, but this could be.
Well, we are thankful to be up here in the broadcast booth. Tyler Millen has been manning the sidelines, and he's deserving of a raise here tonight
right now
for his efforts as he's trying to track down Brian Davis of McKinley, going into the locker room, get his thoughts on how his team has managed the heavy rain here in this opening half. They have a 16-0 lead, and that's where you want to be when Mother Nature steps in.
Well, this is an absolutely manageable aspect for Williamsville East. Down 16. Hopefully you can make some adjustments, but it doesn't seem to be a lot of holes in that McKinley defense.
And as the team's going, you can see just getting a brief reprieve from this heavy rain. I think Tyler actually is underneath the bleachers somewhere, just trying to stay dry and find a space where he can talk to Brian Davis. We don't want our equipment to malfunction. It's basically like a Gatorade bath out there on the field, and because of the wet weather, I think we're gonna punt it to break here as well. 16-0 McKinley with the lead here at the half. You're watching the law office of William Attar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing.
You're watching the UB Bulls Halftime Report.
16-0 game, but the wet weather and the heavy rain, really the story here tonight. 16-0 McKinley in front here at the half. Let's take a look at tonight's Aesthetic Associates Scholar Athletes.
Dr. Todd Shackton from the Aesthetic Associates Center is proud to present Thursday Night Lights Aesthetic Associates Scholar Athlete of the Week. With a 4.0 GPA, Jacoby Chambers is the Scholar Athlete for Williamsville East High School. Jacoby is a first-time All-League player and one-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's also an All-League Honorable Mention in baseball. Jacoby is a member of the National Honor Society, and his community involvement includes volunteering at the Summit Center. This All-Star is now entered for a $5,000 scholarship at the end of the season. Congratulations to the Aesthetic Associates Scholar Athlete of the Week. Dr. Todd Chapkin from the Aesthetic Associates Center is proud to present Thursday Night Lights Aesthetic Associates Scholar Athlete of the Week. With a 3.6 GPA, Cardell Staples is the Scholar Athlete from McKinley High School. Cardell is an All-State and All-League player and one-time Defensive Player of the Year. He is also on the McKinley basketball team and track. Cardell is an honor roll student, and his community involvement includes being a member of the JROTC. This All-Star is now entered for a $5,000 scholarship at the end of the season. Congratulations to the Aesthetic Associates Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Congratulations, Jacoby and Cardell. They are the complete package. Having a great night so far tonight. So is everyone, despite the rain. 16-0 McKinley at the half here on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights presented by Stellar Roofing. A little rain not slowing down the Max cheerleaders, and not maybe just a little rain. Let's take a look at the highlights from across the country from Thursday Night Lights and Friday Night Rivals action.
The best Thursday Night Lights and Friday Night Rivals highlights from across the country.
Angel's gonna run it. Case and Angel, first down and more. Case and Angel, midfield, still on his feet. There he goes. He's off to the races, and no one's gonna catch him. Touchdown.
He doesn't see Holloway coming right there.
Oh, yeah. Yikes.
Lands on his head.
Fourth down, they're going to keep the offense on the field, going to the end zone. This ball's up for grabs. Jump ball, and it's caught. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, it is.
Hula again.
To kind of see how he's doing, figure things out. A high snap way over his head. Again, a fine play, but he's in real trouble. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness, just thrown down. And how about this? It's going to be chalk-jaw ball inside the Synovus red zone.
Plenty of time towards the end zone. And it is caught. Caught it is. Jarry Moore Stewart with a fantastic catch in the end zone. And it's a Reaper's Revenge touchdown for the Panthers.
To keep the Mules undefeated. Walker Bryant to hold. The kick is up. It is straight. It is perfect. And it is good. And the Mules walk off with the win at Lenox State.
No blocked field goals at the wire in high school football last week. Yeah, that's basically the story here. You're seeing it. It is still raining as the teams get ready to take the field for the second half. We'll be right back here on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights presented by Stellar Roofing.
You're watching the UB Bulls Halftime Report.
That is the story here tonight, the heavy rain, as we take a look back at the first half. Highlights of the game significantly impacted by the heavy rain here tonight. McKinley with a 16-0 lead. They started with the big plays from Kaylon Ford on a broken play and a low snap. That's been the story tonight. Took it in from 17 yards out, and this led to an 8-0 McKinley lead.
Yeah, he's got great dexterity, good vision, as we've talked about all night long, whether he's getting the ball downfield. Now we're seeing here a great run by the quarterback, but in this kind of weather, you got to protect the football. Great recovery by number 55 there. That's, again, puts him in a position where it's a 1-yard push. Another score.
It was slippery early, but then it got worse after this. Martis pass here, tipped and intercepted by Marcus Daniels, who had his hands on both those turnovers tonight.
These guys are just active on both sides, and here we go, second half.
Yeah, it is going to be wet here in the second half. Quick look at some of the first half numbers. And we're trying to count the raindrops for those numbers here at halftime. It is pouring here. Williamsville East, McKinley. Williamsville East, the Flames will get the football. Williamsville East will get the football. And there, a 16-0 McKinley lead at the half. Stats 102 yards, 50 yards, just 152 total yards, and 7 first downs, all because of the wet weather. Penalties not helping out McKinley as well. Second half kickoff. Flames get the football when we come back. Oh, yeah.
Niagara Falls.
We'll be right back with the second half here in a moment. $16-0, McKinley in front, but kicking off to start this third quarter. Brian Tripp, Scott Pilkey, and it is still raining. If you're 5 miles north, 5 miles south of here, you're probably watching this game right now and going, you got to be kidding me. This is like a lake effect snow band that is just set up over Riverside High School, and it is pouring here still as we start this second half.
Now it's just River High School.
Oh,
no
okay.
more Riverside. It's immersed river. You asked me what bad joke I was going to have. Yeah. That's my corny stuff. Sorry.
I'll tell you, the field's held up beautifully, obviously. New surface here. Looks great. You have turf surface. As Ford has it teed up to kick it away. I'm still recovering from your joke.
It was that bad.
Yeah, Horsman and Kowalski are deep here on the other side.
Literally deep. they're up to their ankles in this stuff.
Scott, at some point, once you fail, you just gotta let it go.
You got to take a run at it every now and then.
You tee it up, and I think we were waiting on a couple more officials there, trying to find all those footballs. Actually got, it's off your screen right now, they got towels and bags and doing what they can, running footballs out onto the field. Tyler Millen's going to update us on that situation in just a minute here after this kickoff. Ford with his team up 16-0, patiently waiting to kick it away. Now we are ready. We had that beautiful lead in to start the second half, and now we are ready to go. Just 152 total yards in the opening half. They held Ford in check, but really not much going for Williamsville East on offense, and maybe that power run game that we saw on the final drive, really just running out the clock to get into the locker room, is where they go here in this half. Retreating, though, Santoro picks it up and nowhere to go. Ball will be spotted at the 24, and Tyler Millen's been the bravest man on our crew all night long. He's braving those conditions down there. Tyler, I can only imagine what these teams are dealing with here in the rain.
It is pouring down here. I mean, that is the best way to describe it. I got a chance to hold one of the game balls during halftime, and that thing was absolutely soaked. Have you ever felt a water-filled baseball? That's exactly how it felt as I held that football. It is extremely heavy. As you see, a lot of these throws are high. That is a difficult football to hold, especially around the laces right now as this continues to pour. And it has been a very consistent pour as I put on my meteorologist cap and send it back to you guys up in the booth.
Yeah, this is some of our shots from throughout the course of the night that you're seeing right there. In trouble with the snap exchange as Martis is tied up and thrown down in the backfield. I hope a new notebook is in the budget for Tyler because that's waterlogged as well, much like he is.
I'm prepared, so I got a couple that are probably in my trunk of my car. I can loan him one. But again, we saw them go under center like we knew that they were going to have to do. The game plan that you came in here with has got to change, and they're going to try to manage the clock here.
Right, Coach? You can coach it, you can practice it, you can do wet ball drills, but nothing really prepares you for a monsoon.
Not like this. This is fun, though, too. You got to have a good time while you're playing in this. And, if you can establish any type of a run, a couple misdirection plays, you might be able to get a couple big gains here.
But this is a case where you throw that original game plan out the window. Martis, trouble with the snap and dragged down by Tashawn Henley. Right at the line of scrimmage again, maybe a yard loss, and they just can't get that exchange here clean to start the second half.
No, again, when you go to this as an auxiliary, the offensive lineman has got to slow down. They're abandoning. The snap has got to be your first priority here. That everything else has to slow down and maintain your blocks. That's the consistency of this.
Tyler was talking about that football. So what do you do? Just trying to manage your grip, handle the ball. Do you have to change anything?
Well, I mean, you try to keep as many footballs dry as you can, but you're only allowed to bring in a certain number.
Yeah, you could see them exchanging it there prior to this 3rd and 11.
And that's what you got to do almost every play.
So is this a case where the equipment staff is as valuable as some of the guys on the field? Martis, high throw, deflected, incomplete off the shoulders of Noah Kaiser. Terrific coverage on the play, and it's a 3-and-out for the Williamsville East offense here to start the third quarter.
Well, the most difficult part of this for either team is that it's going to relegate you to a first down, second down running team, third down opportunity to throw. And again, this young man is throwing a heavy football, but it's not being caught. It's bouncing off the hands, so it's equally as difficult for the quarterback as it is for the wide receivers to be able to maintain control of the football.
Cardell Staples back to receive the punt here from Jack Landreth, who comes in to punt. Low snap, might have been partially deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it was contacted at the 25-yard line. And Williamsville East gives McKinley terrific field position to start this third quarter. And in a 2-score game, a chance to make the third score and a 3-score lead, they will be in some trouble. Yep, everyone trying to fight the rain here tonight. Not an easy night here on Thursday Night Lights. Brian Davis, the head coach of McKinley. A chance here, as we said, going into break for his team to take a 3-score lead with excellent field position, and that's where they cashed in for both of their scores in the first half.
And I think you're going to start to see both teams are going to be going under center the rest of the game.
Motion here prior to the snap. Kalon Ford under center for one of the first times tonight. Penalty against McKinley. 7th penalty here against the Max through just a half and change.
Well, this is the difference between, McKinley running away from it is they keep setting themselves back. Obviously, the ball control is difficult, but the penalties, you've just got to stay true to what you do well. And that's something that, though they're down 16-0, Coach Trulio has his guys really well coached up. So does McKinley. But you can't keep making little mistakes like this. It keeps putting you back. They got great field position now.
Might be a little silver lining, but I think for Ford, the rain is lightening up just a bit. Again, just a repetitive rainfall coming off the lake, goes up the middle and carried by Anthony Moore near the first down, 15 yards. And they are going to move the chains, and that first down brought to you by Interstate Batteries.
He's had a really nice, productive time. He's another guy that's getting 12.1 yards a carry, 30 handoffs so far this year, 363 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Add another one to that total, but this time nowhere to go as they're inside the Willoughby Insurance Red Zone. Willoughby will when nobody will, and I've been impressed with that Flames defensive front. Jackson Lichtner, one of the first to touch them that time.
They're tough. They're a tough defense, man. These guys came here to play tonight. I'd be interested to see how they would be on a dry track.
I would love to see, really from the get-go tonight, the rain started. It continues to intensify throughout the course of the night. It's just completely changed the game plan, the feel for it for both of these teams. Kylan Williams into the hole, but then greeted in the hole again by Ryan Garrigan, who had a nice first half, holds him to a 1-yard gain, and now you have that Flames defense forcing the offense into a 3rd and long. They need to get off the field.
The quickness of guys like Garrigan at 5'9", 185 pounds, the technique is what's keeping these guys in the game right now.
There's a flag on the play. They already had moved the marker, and then it was thrown all the way over on the near side of the field at the line of scrimmage, miles away from the action. Illegal formation on the offense.
There's a call against McKinley, 5-yard penalty.
So what would have been a 3rd and 7 becomes a 2nd and 13 because of the penalty over here along the sideline. It's a pretty impressive unit right there that you're seeing on your screen. David Graves, the center, Sammy Starks, left tackle, Antonio Gonzalez, Jameer Hemphill, and Anthony Johnson. They're going to lean on that offensive front here in the second half, nursing a 16-0 lead. Jameer Hill had one of the 2 touchdowns tonight. Stays on his feet. Did the ball come out? It may have, but already blown dead after a 5-yard pickup and right back into that 3rd and 7 situation.
Well, this is the kind of football that you might have watched back in the 50s and the 60s, but this is the way it has to be played here the rest of the game.
Ford to Hill. Hill with a seam, and Hill barrels his way into the end zone. The ball came out again, but he's across the goal line. Touchdown.
Just a great run off the left side. Quarterback turns around, quick hitter, nice touchdown.
His 2nd touchdown of the night. It's an ECMC touchdown. Go where the Bills go, and a 22-0 Max lead. It is a hot potato. They get another drive football in there. Let's take a look at the end of the run. And the ball coming out as he
covers the ball up, keeps his legs going.
Woo.
Great play there by across the plane. That's a touchdown.
May have been recovered anyway on the back end. It was hard to see from our vantage point, but looking at the replay by the Flames, and it's a 22-0 lead and a chance to convert their 3rd 2-point conversion, but you have a flag at the line of scrimmage on the motion again and another false start. This is one of those games, and obviously the conditions impacting significantly probably not a whole lot you take away from the tape tonight. You throw it away, hope to pick up a win and get on out of here.
Well, again, gives you a great opportunity if you're coaching your kids in every situation like this. They have to overcome every situation on the field. So, this you got to get your practice in. This is what they do, and they hand the ball off. It gets them a great touchdown. It's good to see that you have the ability for your offense to do more than just wing it around and rely on a quarterback.
Probably not the only bad weather game that you'll have this year.
No.
So you want to lean on this experience as you go in for both these teams, what they think is going to be a playoff in the stretch run. Now we've got to delay a game. You see the flag come in from, wow, it is getting ugly for McKinley. They have overcome all of the penalties tonight, but they are really racking up.
Well, any opportunity that you give, if you got to take as Williamsville East, these types of penalties, you got to stay disciplined, but 22 down is very difficult to overcome in this type of weather.
This is a 2-point conversion. Look where the ball is. Look where the defense is lined up. And right here, you're just playing that goal line, right? If you're the defense.
Yeah, this is, and you're gonna run the football here because you're still under center.
Now he's actually going to back up for it, and he's going to go into the gun for the first time here in the second half.
Yep.
It is a clean exchange, and it is a slippery Hail Mary that is batted down by Horsman. And that conversion, no good.
Still a great run that they had to take it into the end zone. Good stand on that. Good discipline by Williamsville East. Guys are getting a little banged up here.
Yeah, Cooper Rung, one of the linebackers, and it may have been Rung who was leaping into the air to bat at that football, not Horsman. Let's take another look at the touchdown here by Hill.
Just a great push by the left side. They caved everybody down. Good effort by Williamsville East to try to knock that ball out, but it still results in another score.
But they keep them off the scoreboard on the ugly 2-point play, and really an ugly series of a couple of plays getting lined up there for the conversion.
Yeah, well, with the rain slowing down a little bit, but it's
at this point
compared to what it was to say it slowed down at all is it's not something that's going to satisfy the conditions out here.
Mike Torillo, and wow. Yeah, hopefully your roof's holding up tonight. Our closed captioning is exclusively brought to you by Buffalo Fresh Roof. You're right. It is definitely lightening up at the moment, and we've seen it trend this direction in and out a couple of times tonight, but everything at this point just completely drenched. It's one of those, no matter what, everything's going into the dryer at the end of the night after it's in the wash. And Santoro, the ball came out again. McKinley celebrated like they had the football, and it is recovered by Williamsville East, and they're very fortunate that Noah Kaiser was able to get that football back after it was Noah Kaiser, Noah Kaiser, the one who had it slip away.
Well, these guys are doing everything that they can. Scheme goes out the window. Ball control, staying on your blocks, and finishing.
I'll say that, and it's no knock on the young man Kaiser there, but he's a little lackadaisical picking up that football. You have to be extra protective of the football on a run like that tonight.
And that's where the focus. That's why you're starting to see the penalties. The focus starts to fall off.
Anthony Martis is back in shotgun, and more flags at the line of scrimmage. Flags came in from both sides of the field. Both these teams want to get this cleaned up moving forward. Both, again, have high aspirations this year, trying to make a run here in Section 6 and A2. It's a legal formation on the offense. Health Sciences up next for McKinley, so things don't get any easier on their schedule. They got one of the teams that's 2-0 in the division tonight, and then have to take on the other one next week.
Yeah, and those are some, and Health Sciences is one of the better teams. They're playing tonight. But we'll see what's going on with these guys. We can start getting the drive going here.
And then Williamsville East has to go on the road again at an away venue next week. What a beautiful pass into the hands down the sideline. Santoro trying to make a man miss, and he is brought down by Kylan Williams. Joe Santoro on what was just a terrific pass in the flat, and a flag comes in at the end of the run.
very good with set-up play, great wheel route. Everybody was flat-footed. Everybody thinks that the run is just happening. Everybody's eyes are in the backfield. That is a mental mistake by the defense because that route.
5-yarder.
5-yard face mask tacked on to the long catch and run. And we've seen a couple of, you just wonder what Martis could do on a dry night. We've seen a couple of terrifically thrown footballs.
Great release out there, and the young man gets upfield, breaks down, keeps it in play. Tremendous, tremendous play that Williamsville East desperately needed.
A 37-yard pass completion, and now they are on the move. And this is Kyer Smith down to the 21. A gain of 7, and all of a sudden some momentum here for Williamsville East.
Well, you start to look at how is the weather affecting the discipline of the teams. Well, as you're seeing right now, McKinley's taking penalties that they usually don't take. And if you can keep your cool, come back down, you can make a game of this. And right now, Williamsville East is trying to do that. So,
the flag flies prior to the snap here. The team was in the huddle, and it's a side.
12.
And it goes against Anthony Martis for unsportsmanlike.
We just talk about keeping our cool.
I'm not sure. Did he say something to the opponent? He's getting in the huddle. And that is a critical penalty as they actually had something going. Puts it all the way back at the 36. And sets up a 2nd down and 18. Mike Turillo wants an explanation, and he is going to get one here on the sideline from Tony Hazen. I'm not sure that our crew was able to catch anything there. We work with the best in the business here on Thursday Night Lights. That was a quick flag, and I don't know if he just said something, made a signal, what it was.
Maybe he's lucky that he wasn't mic'd up.
So it takes what would have been a 2nd and 3 and turns it into 2nd and 18. And some more frustration as the ball back on the turf, and they're going the wrong way. Martis recovers it at the 49, and the rain is picking back up and making this 3rd and a mile that much more difficult.
Yeah, this is nothing more than just rolling the ball back to him.
In trouble with the snap on both sides all night long. Martis has that towel on his hip. To get a first down, must get all the way down to the 18-yard line. It is a 3rd and 30. They had a 2nd and 3 prior to the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and some momentum.
Well, and those are the intangibles of a winning football team. You know, you gotta be able to stop shooting yourself in the foot, no matter what the weather's like.
Part meteorologist, part broadcast for a football game here tonight. Time out, Williamsville East. And that's their first of this second half, and things are unraveling right now for the Flames. They're going to need to find that spark again.
I enjoyed the pun on that. I'm sorry I was a little slow because I was probably thinking of my own joke, but that was really funny, by the way.
This is we've seen both teams have some pretty ugly sequences here. Stay tuned. Later in tonight's game, we'll be highlighting the school bus stop of the game. The law in every state requires drivers to always stop for a school bus when the stop arm is out and the red lights are flashing. Coming up, maybe it's that pick back in the first half from Marcus Daniels, and the turnovers. Maybe we'll just recognize the precipitation here tonight for slowing down both of these two teams. Two high-powered, really well-coached, really well-run, really prepared football teams. You can be prepared, but I'm not sure you can be prepared for the rain that we saw fall for much of the first half here tonight.
Well, the good news is they still have to overcome it. So later when they are playing in the playoffs, things of that nature, they'll have some of this experience, and it is valuable.
Little movement up front. Play is onside. Kyer Smith is dragged down at the line of scrimmage. Maybe didn't even get back to that line of scrimmage. Jameer Hill, who has a couple of touchdowns tonight, just made the tackle for loss at the 49.
Now, he quietly is just having a great day. You know, he's had a sack, 2 touchdowns, and 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, we got a young man down right now.
And that is Smith as he scraped down the line. Looks like his lower leg got caught there on the tackle by Hill. as they tend to him, will step aside. 22-0, McKinley in front here in a wet one. Hopefully Smith is okay. We'll check on him when we come back. Smith helped over to the sideline. You can see just trying to walk on his own power. Got rolled up there on the tackle by Jameer Hill, who has a pair of touchdowns tonight. He's really the standout player on both sides of the football, as they needed to really ramp up the physicality here in what's a slowed down Max attack because of the rain.
Yeah, and you really the goal right now for East has got to be able to coach your kids, get better at something. This might not be one that you ever want to give up on, but you've got to establish how you get to play in this game. Clean snap.
And it's handled this time. Santoro kicks it away, backing Staples up from his own 13. Cardell Staples, flags fly. Already had one punt return touchdown called back tonight, and he might have a second one called back tonight. He'll put the Jets on down the sideline and score. But it looks like he's going to have his second return touchdown, this time of 87 yards called back. Man, he is a special talent, but another penalty on what was going to be a punt return touchdown.
Yeah, Staples is he's on a different level here. You don't see too many guys like him in this Section 6 this season. He's got great burst, will definitely be a player at the next level. And as we said, as we showed during our break, he's not only a great athlete, he's a tremendous student with a 3.6 GPA, member of the ROTC, I believe. Just gets that hand again behind the back. Keep your hands inside. It's not even necessary, because he probably could have cut back and made this happen himself.
Marcus Daniels, who has a couple of takeaways tonight. The guilty party, it's 12 penalties now for McKinley. 6 of those 12 here in the second half for 90 yards. And that doesn't count the 80-yard punt return and the now 87-yard punt return wiped out and the points taken off the scoreboard in that 12 penalties for 90 yards here tonight for McKinley.
Well, and you showed the picture as we were coming off the sideline of Coach Davis. Knowing Coach Davis well, he's a very disciplined guy, and he does not like the undisciplined nature of his team. In spite of the weather, he will not accept any excuses, I promise you that.
No, he does a great job. Brian Davis, whose team was one win away from winning the section a year ago. Ford is back under center with this offense, and a good physical run, dragging defenders all the way out to the 20-yard line. Looks like it should be enough for a first down. And talk about some physical running.
We've said a lot about the O-line, but look at here, number 58, Sammy Starks. He literally gets up not only on the second level, but he keeps driving his man onto the third level. That's a guy who's up on the free safety to get that first down. Tremendous job by the offensive line.
Anthony Moore with an 11-yard pickup and a first down. It's brought to you by Interstate Batteries. Moore tries to pinball his way through this time, picks up 5. We've seen his speed and burst tonight. Really, that's one of the first times we've seen Moore run with that type of leg drive. And, again, that might be our run of the night, and a night that's had a lot of great runs. And now an injury for McKinley.
Yeah, one of the great things you're seeing, even though it's said when a young man is down, it gives us a time to talk about what they're doing. So far, you've had this offense be driven by one player, right? 1,000 yards, tremendous quarterback. But now, in this condition, they're having to rely. Sammy Starks there, just one of 5 great guys that's doing a really nice job up front in spite of all the adversity we have with the weather.
Yeah, you saw Jesse Baldwin senior, the injured player for McKinley, the tight end, defensive end, and they're checking him for a lower body injury. I'm glad you talked about Starks. These guys don't get enough love any night, but especially on a night like this where you have to rely on your physicality up front. McKinley's showing it's not just flash and dash. They can do some things to you physically, and that's one thing Brian Davis was looking for coming in.
Well, and that just makes them a more complete and more dangerous team going forward because these are invaluable reps. Every coach will tell you that every moment is a learning moment. Good that young man's okay. Now we get back to regular scheduled play.
Or programming. Brian Tripp, Scott Pilkey, Tyler Millen, who is doing the dirty work tonight, out in the rain, and our entire Thursday Night Lights crew here tonight. McKinley leads at 22-0, looking to get to 3-1 on the year and improve to 3-0 in the division. Williamsville East will need a big comeback to remain unbeaten. Came in 3-0, 2-0 in division, with wins over Williamsville South, Hamburg, and Kenmore East, and all those in convincing fashion. Second down and 5 as we approach 4 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Kylan Williams shows a little wiggle and then shows a little physicality himself, and he'll carry a defender. Ball came out late, but the play is blown dead after 6.5 and another first down, brought to you by Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
Now, this is something Coach Davis has to be happy about here, is that he's starting to see that they can pretty much do anything that they want to. You know, you can open it up. They're a spread offense traditionally, but now your quarterback, your center, your O-line made a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties. Now those penalties seem to be worked out. They're consistently running the ball for 5 or 6 yards a carry now.
This is a drive that started way back inside the 10 after the penalty, wiping out the punt return touchdown. And they go back to Williams, who picks up 6 more.
It's the same 2 plays, run it left, run it right, and stop us. And that's what they're challenging right now. That big offensive line is starting to get rolling. You start to see a little bit of the body language from Williamsville East, and this is just going to run the clock down, which is exactly what they need to do.
And in a game like this, if you start wearing a team down, Scott, eventually with their explosive ability, they're in jeopardy of breaking one if you're Williamsville East.
Well, and that's just where they are right now. You're seeing 8 to 10 yard carries. It's just a matter of time before one goes the distance.
So let's see what happens here after another productive first down carry on 2nd and 5. Try to get to that edge. Ford dancing, but then tackled after maybe a yard. Jackson Lichtner made the play, and they do give him a yard. It's going to be 3rd and about 3.
Well, and to Williamsville East's credit, you know, they're bending, but they're not breaking. They haven't, aside from your special teams, they haven't given up huge plays.
This was the same story as last year's game. It was a tight game throughout, 22-8. Just couldn't make those 1 or 2 big plays. They found themselves down 16-0 at halftime. Where have I seen that before? Right? They're in it, but just couldn't do enough to get over the hump here. And that's kind of the same story tonight, obviously impacted by the rain. Here is a 3rd and officially 2. And Ford hands it off to Moore. Moore leaning forward. I don't think he got there as he ran into Matt Glennon. And it looks like he'll be a half-yard shy.
Really nice stand here. Again, everybody's hands are extended out. They don't get pushed, and they break down and keep it into a nice 4th and short. Good opportunity here. See, everybody's getting good push. They come off the block. That's just great football play right there.
Antonio Broadus banged up trying to make his way to the sideline. Now he is being tended to. And McKinley a chance to talk it over here before this 4th and short. With 96 seconds to play here in the third quarter, a 22-0 max lead on first half touchdown runs by Kaylon Ford. You thought, okay, it's going to be another big night for Ford, but really hasn't done a whole lot tonight, relatively speaking. If you told Williamsville East his numbers where they're at right now, you'd be absolutely thrilled. Instead, they've had to really rely on the ground and pound, and Jamie Hill with a couple of touchdown runs, expanding what was an early 8-0 lead. Got one in the second quarter to start things, 16-0, and then Hill tacked one on here in this third, 22-0 our score.
Well, in this kind of weather, you got to really rely on your special teams and defense. Think of that punt, that 55-yard punt out of the back of the end zone where they could have taken a 2-point, where they where they couldn't make mistakes, they didn't, and they're doing a great job here. I'll bet you they get the first down.
Ford only has 34 rushing yards tonight and 45 passing yards. Now, he's 2 for 2 through the air, but he has not had, for a guy coming in nearly averaging 14 yards per carry, has not had that big night yet.
Turns out he can't walk on water.
And it is Hill who leans forward, picks up 2, and a first down brought to you by Interstate Batteries. I saw exactly what you did there.
Well, it wasn't as good as your pun, but I'm still trying.
Good play by Lichtner, but when you have Hill and his forward momentum, Hill helping out, signaling kind of off screen about the first down. You have another player down on the field.
It's one of their big guys up front.
Writhing in pain at the moment. Did pick up that first down. It's brought to you by Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. And with the minute and 9 seconds to play here in the third quarter, you have to check on the injured player, and it's Hemphill, Jameer Hemphill, who, when we talked about Starks, it's kind of like 1A, 1B. Those are their best two on the offensive front.
Yeah, you don't want to lose that guy. Hopefully it's just a cramp or something. So,
not to mention his run-stopping ability on the defensive side of football. And that's a good sign to see the big guy to his feet and jogging off under his own power. And, again, not a doctor, but you might be right on that one, my friend.
Yeah, he's a good-looking kid for his – to be 6'1" and be able to move the way he does at an estimated 355 pounds.
Yeah, put on your scouting hat. When you're looking at a big guy, what are some of the things, size, physicality, but what are you looking for to see where they got that little extra that can get them to the
even
next
just
level?
watching him pop up like that, watching him move, the flexibility, the hips, he's a powerful kid. He gathers into his guy in front of you. Let's see if his being off affects his ability to run the football here.
Last 2 plays likely of this third quarter. Anthony Moore picks up 5, takes it out to the 48-yard line. And what a time-consuming drive this has been for McKinley. There's been a couple of stops due to the timeouts for the injuries, and Hemphill coming right back in. He missed just 1 play.
So now you look at the way that young man runs in off the sideline. He's a legitimate athlete at that size. He's a big guy, but he's very athletic.
Late substitution for Williamsville East, trying to get Larry on the field. Up the middle, Moore runs into the aforementioned player, stays on his feet, gets a little shove, and crosses midfield to the 49, and we'll have a 3rd and 1 when we come back to start the fourth quarter. All McKinley, Max looking mighty tonight, up 22-0 through 3 quarters of play. 3rd and short when we return here on the law offices of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. Besides penalties, a lot to be happy about on the McKinley sideline. Happy providing food for our crew tonight, www.happyinthefoods.com. Check out their menu. Food was delicious for our crew, which has definitely earned it here tonight. The rain finally, I believe, has stopped here on a 3rd and 1. McKinley with the football, but the rain may be stopped, but still slick in trouble there on the center quarterback exchange, and it'll be a 4th down and 2. McKinley coming into this game, and everyone's talking about the offense, rightfully so, averaging more than 570 yards per game, the big totals throughout the first half. Don't forget, they have a suffocating defense. We're learning tonight that they can win games in a variety of ways.
And that's real growth by a football team. And here they're going to get the first down and keep it going. And they're just running. They're just powerful. They're athletic.
That's Jameer Hill, who has 2 of their 3 touchdowns tonight. He picks up 6 yards like a bowling ball that time. And it's a first down brought to you by Express Windows. They're about to slam the doors and windows shut here on Williamsville East with this time-consuming drive that started all the way back inside their own 10.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with how they've adjusted. Obviously, early in the third quarter, a lot of mental mistakes, penalties, but you can really see how Coach Davis probably got into them a bit. They've cleaned it up the last 2 drives, and this is a really good football team.
But he saw something he didn't like here prior to this first down and 10 play. He calls a timeout here, 58 seconds into the fourth quarter. A 22-0 McKinley lead, and this gives us an opportunity to take a look at tonight's school bus stop of the game.
This is the school bus stop of the game. Always remember to stop when the school bus arm is out.
Came back in the very slippery first half. Deflection picked off by Marcus Daniels, who had a pair of takeaways in that opening half. That's tonight's school bus stop of the game.
Great job. You see here, again, the awareness of these guys are great.
Bus stop of the game. Always remember to stop when the school bus arm is out.
We talk, rightfully so, Scott, so much about that offense. Well, their defensive numbers have been equally as impressive. They live in the backfield. They get takeaways. I'll tell you, Williamsville East tonight has done a nice job slowing down that pass rush. But for the most part of this game, McKinley, no matter what it wants to do, besides the rain, has been able to do it.
Now you're going to see them go back to their original game plan if they can. You know, they want to work everything out. And here you go, putting it back in your quarterback's hands. And he's a dynamic player.
Ford tackled by Ryan Garrigan, who came off the line of scrimmage and tracked him down after an 8-yard pickup. It has not been that big night for Kalon Ford tonight, who came in with more than 560 passing yards and 530 rushing yards on the year. Does have a touchdown. He now has 11 total touchdowns this year, but for the most part, it's been a relatively quiet night for Ford because they haven't been able to line up and get clean exchanges out of the shotgun.
When you're seeing the increase of the tempo, too, here Coach Davis is like, we're not going to take a 22-0, win. We want that 35, that 40 points every week.
They want to get into their offense a little bit. Daniels moved early, the wide receiver spread out, and it takes a 2nd and 3 and turns it into a 2nd and long.
Well, you were almost more disciplined, under center doing what they've been doing. Now, as soon as they go spread again, it takes a different tempo.
You got a baker's dozen here tonight. 13 penalties now.
And that's not the way they play football.
No, this is a well-coached team that has high aspirations this year. They intend on being at Highmark Stadium. 2nd down and 8. Kylan Williams off the right side. Pinballs off 1, stays on his feet. And he's dropped after a 5-yard gain. Just a lot of shiftiness for all of these guys when they finally get some space to make plays.
Well, you see, that's maybe the 2nd or 3rd time they've run that counter tray where they pulled the backside guard and tackle. But you can tell they've averaged 7 or 8 yards. They've got another run in their arsenal.
It was a team averaging 13.5 yards per carry, though. Coming into this game through their first 3 games, they ran for more than 3,400 yards last year as a team. There probably is no better running team here in the area. A team performance thanks to their dual threat quarterback. And they are going to move the chains here as Williams able to pick up another Express Windows first down.
Well, and really, their offensive line is very well developed. Coach Fumarelli, who ironically enough, back in the day, was the head coach at Williamsville East, is the offensive line coach now, and you can really tell that they are well coached on both sides of the ball.
Williams and Ford in the gun. Kaylon Ford back to pass. He's only thrown it twice tonight, and he gets into space, and he was hit hard and finally brought down. That might be a penalty there. Noah Kaiser, and then flags do come in. Kaiser was holding him up, and then the late shot draws the penalty markers.
Like I was saying a couple minutes ago, you come to rely on a guy like number 0 at this stage of the game where you're 22-0 with 8:50 left to go. You know, how long do you want to keep that guy on the field?
Time right now advantageous for McKinley on this kind of weird night here. Try to just get out of here.
Personal foul. You're offset.
So you had the first late hit on Williamsville East, and then McKinley. Look, if you're a coach, it is another penalty, but you got to protect your quarterback.
Exactly. You know, the initial hit, you know, just taking him to the ground like that's not necessary. You know, coming in. But he took a great hit. The kid's tough. Not only does he have great speed, but he's got great toughness.
Ryan Garrigan, the first penalty, then Anthony Johnson, the junior tackle, came in to protect his quarterback. When all is said and done, we have a 2nd down and 7, and more looking to add some more to a pretty good night. 3 yards and a wrestling match going on behind play again, and another flag comes in. You can see David Graves tied up there with Theo Andradis, and it's going against the offense. And credit our officiating crew. They're going to step in and make sure that they prevent this thing from getting ugly.
You know, you see just good push, and sometimes the domination of an offensive lineman is it's a little overstated at times, but, you know, I don't mind aggressive play, but it can't cost you big like it just did.
Theo Andradis, the seniors, had a really nice night. Big build back there for the linebacker.
Oh, yeah. And again, what you're looking at with that, you can tell these guys spend a lot of time in the weight room. Mm-hmm. They are well-disciplined. They do not have the horses that they have on the side of McKinley, but they are very well prepared, very well coached, and they're still, even though it's 22-0, they're still competing and playing hard in this game.
Now, this is a team that's going to win a lot of football games this year, and you do not want to see Williamsville East on your schedule the rest of the way. They've been there toe-to-toe tonight with one of the top teams in all of Section 6. Just have not made the big play. And a couple of breaks going the way of McKinley. May have a timeout here prior to the flag coming in, and we do. McKinley takes a timeout with a 22-0 lead and 8:09 to play. We're going to take it with them here. You're watching the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. Timeout taken by McKinley. This is nearly a 9-minute drive. It started at the 5:01 mark of the third quarter inside their own 10-yard line. And you look up because of a couple of penalties. And Brian Davis, head coach, not all that thrilled over on the McKinley sideline right now because of those few penalties. They're still at the 46, so this has been a long, time-consuming drive that hasn't gone a ton of distance here as McKinley taking its second timeout of this second half.
You don't see that up there. 22, second down and 22.
No, we've had a 4th and 50 tonight.
Yeah.
Moore stumbles and gets back to the 40. We had a 3rd and 48. And at the 17th play of this drive, they do spot it at the 40 and a 3rd and 16 now coming up for the offense. I really like this running back, Anthony Moore. I think he's a nice compliment to Kaylon Ford there in the backfield.
I do too. And that's something that you really have to appreciate about what Coach Davis does, is that he develops this talent from the freshman all the way up, and he's still got a lot of young guys on this team.
He has impressive numbers this year. He's gone over the 100-yard mark in each of the first 3 games. Ford under pressure, then puts on the Jets. There he goes! Kaylon Ford, best run of the night, ran through a couple of tacklers. He is still up, and finally the Flames surround him and engulf him at the 10. And that is Kaylon Ford in a nutshell right there, just doing it all in space.
Well, imagine having the most dynamic player in Western New York have fresh legs going into the fourth quarter when they've been grounded and pounding you for the last 17 plays. Look at the bodies he's leaving in his wake, and that has not happened to Williamsville East all day long. That's just pounding them and grounding them into the end of this game. Nice job by McKinley.
Remember, the McKinley coaching staff told us they want to see 4 quarters tonight. They have a chance to finish strong. Anthony Moore goes up the middle, picks up 3. Second and goal coming up from the 7. That was one heck of a run. We know all the shiftiness, the stutter steps, the shaking he can do into the open field, but to see him run through 2 would-be tacklers as well, wow.
And they literally have 3 or 4 guys that you've got to cover the entire field with. That's why you can see that they're so dominant. You know, the rain makes you a 1 or 2 player person, but they're just got great ability.
So, yeah, Staples in there. It's Ford with the plant, and then he jets into the end zone. Touchdown! Kaylon Ford with his second touchdown tonight, and you can only keep him under wraps for so long. It is a 28-0 McKinley lead. That is a Kaleida Health touchdown. We'll take another look.
Just great offensive line play. He sees the opening, and he trusts his athleticism. He takes it. Another great score.
And he and Hill tonight, really, Cardell Staples had a couple of punt returns called back. Daniels, they got playmakers all over the place on this McKinley team.
Not to take anything away from the preparedness of the Williamsville East Flames, but just imagine what the score could have been without a couple penalties and no rain.
Yeah, it has been an excellent game by Williamsville East, especially Ryan Garrigan, who ties up Avery Stone before we can punch this one in for 2. They've been a physical, they've been stout, they've held them in check as much as they probably hoped to tonight, but McKinley now breaking it open. Kaylon Ford with a couple of special runs on that drive. It's 28-0. We'll be right back here on the law office of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. There it is. Tonight's the law office of William Mattar Thursday Night Lights Trophy, designed by Southtown's Trophy. A couple of raindrops on it, but not too bad. It looks like McKinley's going to get it at the end of the night, as they're going to improve to 3-1 and 3-0 here in the division. A couple of unbeatens in the division going head-to-head on what was a damp and soggy night. Rain finally starting to lighten up here late fourth quarter, but the result no longer in doubt. 2 touchdowns tonight for Kaylon Ford and 2 for Jameer Hill. Physical run on the return to the 40-yard line. Flags come in after the play again. Josh Flusky had the return. He lowered his shoulder at the 39. And more penalty markers.
Block in the back. Unnecessary.
See the numbers pop up at the bottom of your screen. All of a sudden, Ford up to 73 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And more 81 yards tonight.
55, late hit.
It is a late hit. And we apologize for the interference on the microphone there. I'm surprised it still works at all with how heavy it rained here tonight.
Well, like you said, that's key to our staff that is taking care of everything and setting everything up.
And we have the best here. Eric Carpy leading our crew tonight. And you see the numbers for Anthony Martis as they flash in. 3 for 12. A lot of high passes tonight. Never really, with the rain falling from opening kickoff, able to get a firm grip on the football.
Yeah, and the good part for that young man is he's only a junior. So you know he's going to learn from this game. These are big experiences in your total learning process here.
Penalty sets the Flames back to the 24. And why not? One more fumble. McKinley's got it. And that is the story of the night. Jameer Hill comes up with the football. And Jameer Hill is probably going to be tonight's player of the game. He's got the turnover chain on, flashing the chain there on the sideline. I would say he is the leading candidate for player of the game here tonight. A couple of candidates on that team. Moore, Ford, Daniels, but Pose. Pose for our camera. Jameer Hill.
Well, it's just constant, mismanagement of the football. I know it's wet, but again, we talked about it. It's the increase of the focus. I know it's towards the end of the game, but Williamsville East has played a pretty disciplined game most of the game. So
they've been there all night long. Anthony Moore picks up 3. Been there all night long, but it's hard to go punch for punch with a team like McKinley over 48 minutes.
Yeah, if they can stay disciplined and healthy, you're going to see this program is going to be one of the top at the end of the season, no doubt.
Yeah, they'll have health sciences coming up next, and that is on the road next Friday. That should be a terrific matchup and a terrific test for them as well. Anthony Moore. He's not even contacted until he's 2 or 3 yards downfield. A flag comes in. Wonder if this is a face mask here. But I'm really impressed, and I think this is a team. We didn't even get to see everything that they can do tonight because of the rain.
Right.
The offense.
Nope, it's Holt coming back.
Yeah, it's like you said, and they've had to adjust, and it took them a little bit to get, their footing under center and everything else. But once they were able to do that, they showed that they can run it and control the clock, too, without all the big plays and everything else.
Here's the keys that Brian Davis told us offensively tonight. Execute, play fast and physical, and be explosive. I would say decent job, but probably not overly satisfied with what they've done on the offensive side.
They got the win, and they scored enough, and they showed that even against a really good football team, they can still get the job done.
Meanwhile, their defense is pitching a shutout. This is thrown backwards into the hands of Cardell Staples. And Staples, who's been most electrifying tonight on punt returns, picks up 5. I thought at first when he threw it back to Staples, might be a double pass there.
Yeah, he's a really impressive kid. I mean, we've already done a couple of good games here in Western New York, but he is the top athlete we've seen here so far.
He's got D1 potential. There is no doubt about that.
He's got the grades, he's got size, he's got the fast twitch, and he's got the closing speed,
I think my favorite part of the night is at halftime when we get to see our scholar athletes up on the screen. It is unbelievable when you start to see the resume that they put together.
Yeah, because you know that they have to be as fast twitch between the ears as they are out on the field.
Speaking of
fast twitch, right?
You can tell we worked a time or two together.
Yeah, a couple times.
They've done a good job tonight for the most part, though, of making him work horizontally instead of letting him get vertical.
And that's something that they can build on. These guys are, little behind the talent, but their technique has been great. They're extremely well coached, very well disciplined, and I think that they would have put a better game together had they been able to throw the ball a bit.
Yeah, we've seen the throws, and Martis is 3 for 12, but some of the completions he's had tonight, they have been dimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like the throw over the shoulder was fantastic.
And that was to Kowalski, had the little swing pass as well, and stepping up. Ford in and out of the hands of Liggins. Would have at least been a first down, maybe even a touchdown, as he broke wide open on a 4th and 8, but instead it's a turnover on downs, and the Flames will get it back. So with 3:40 to go in the fourth quarter, one last opportunity for the Williamsville East offense with the rain stopping here to put points on the scoreboard. Tonight's closed captioning is exclusively brought to you by Buffalo Fresh Roof. Thank all our partners and our entire team for their great work here tonight. The men and women of our team in these conditions, not only the players and the fans, but what our team has done in these conditions tonight. Just terrific, terrific work to bring you another terrific Thursday Night Lights game to our audience here across Western New York. And prior to this Flames play, timeout max, and it's their third and final timeout of the second half. And gives us an opportunity, Scott, to take a look back at how we got to this point tonight. And remember, we said right at the top, we think it's going to stay dry. Well, that was not the case, and Kalon Ford gave McKinley an 8-0 lead, a 6-0 lead, but they punched it in for the 2-point conversion on a spectacular run. But then the physicality of Jamir Hill punching it in for their next 2 scores.
Yeah, again, you see the push, the absolute push. The only thing, you saw the rain running down the stairs today, but you also see the cascading of that offensive line, and the vision of this young man is the best.
How about that plant and the cut he made on that touchdown? That looked like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts type run right there.
Yeah, he's got that. I mean, he's got, for Western New York, he's got that level of talent that, and they've got 4 or 5 guys like that on this team. Makes them very dangerous.
Oh, boy. It has been that kind of night. Santoro picks up the football, stays on his feet, and then shoved out of bounds back near his 3-yard line. For Williamsville East, Aiden McCarthy now in at quarterback, replacing Anthony Martis, and the snap went over the head again. And you can see frustration up front there for Kyrie Smith, the center, as he shot it right past the quarterback. That's been the story of the night. Great scoop there by Santoro.
He's a scrappy kid, isn't he? Been tough tonight.
Certainly you can point to the weather, but I think both teams probably frustrated with how many times that ball has been on the ground tonight. Remains in the gun, handles a belt high snap. And the ball slips out of the hands of McCarthy this time and lands incomplete around the 20-yard line, just trying to get away before the pass rush gets home.
Well, that's almost like throwing a shot put or a javelin at this point.
And as you can see, McCarthy now in. Look at some of his measurables as he's in here on this drive, replacing the outstanding Anthony Martis, who had a tough night in these conditions. There was a flag on the play and came in late. I believe it was in sportsmanlike conduct against McKinley, and the ball comes out to the 20. The huddle was still back inside the end zone. They did not realize there was a penalty on the play, so they had to do a 15-yard jog up to the line of scrimmage. And you know what? It actually gives them a fresh set of downs. It's going to be a 1st down and 10 now. Let's see if this changes the play here for the Flames.
You see them go into their 3-front defense now versus 3-by-1 set.
Santoro forced to recover another bad snap. Yeah, this is one of those games that I think both sides are ready to see that clock hit triple zeros.
Well, and you try to get some guys in here to get some types of reps, but sometimes it might be at the detriment to their confidence. But hey, the kid keeps running in and out, and he wants his opportunity to play.
Yeah, you love that, especially for a kid who's given a lot to the program, a senior. It's those guys who don't always get a chance to play under the bright lights on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
Those are the ones that can be the backbone of a team. And you just want to see McCarthy have an opportunity here. Handles the snap, gives it to Santoro, who is tackled after a 1-yard gain. James Lord and company make the stop. Lord pumped up, along with Kylan Williams with the handshake there after that terrific open field tackle.
McKinley's just really well coached. You can see they've got depth as well. They've got their second group in. Still some of their stars in there as well. But all in all, this is a very well-rounded team. Their special teams surprise me. Even though they don't go for any extra points, that 55-yard punt out of the back of the end zone, when I'm saying why risk it, take it, safety. But they trusted their punter, and he's had a good game. The returns have been great. So right now, I would say that McKinley probably has some of the best special teams in Western New York that we've seen so far.
McCarthy's pass incomplete. A lot of traffic over there. Cottrell Rhodes had the coverage, and it'll be a 4th down, and he'll have to kick it away. Don't forget our trophy presentation still coming up here tonight. Our South Towns trophy for the law office of William Matar, Thursday Night Lights. And Tyler Millen, who I think toweled off the trophy and is ready to present it. He did a great day. Don't envy him for the work that he had to do here tonight. I don't think you mind if you're soaked on that Max sideline right now. They're going to improve to 3-1 and 3-0. They're going to be one of maybe 2 unbeatens at the end of the night here in A2. Handles the snap. Wobbly punt, angled towards the sideline. Staples lets it skip along the sideline and out of bounds around the 32. With 16 seconds to play, chance for one last kneel down for McKinley. So we talked a lot about McKinley, obviously health sciences, maybe a couple of unbeatens in the division coming up next week. For Williamsville East, they're on the road at North Tonawanda next Friday. This is one you just flush out and you try to move forward. This is still a really good football team.
Well, they're going to get healthy. They learned a lot about themselves today. You know, this is a good football team, well coached.
Speaking of health, by the way, McKinley without Tayon Mullen tonight. He got hurt in that first game, has not returned yet. Imagine if they get him back as another weapon.
That's a scary team.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, dry off, everybody. What a game. McKinley wins it 28-0 in convincing fashion. Was not always pretty tonight. Conditions were really miserable for 3 of the 4 quarters. But McKinley improves to 3-1 and 3-0 in the league, handing Williamsville East its first loss of the year. They'll get the trophy when we come back here on the law office of William Matar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing. $28-0. McKinley wins it over Williamsville East here tonight in what was a deluge. Brian Trippa and Scott Pilkey and Tyler Millen ready to present the trophy down on the field to a team that put together an incredibly impressive performance.
Yeah, they just did a great job tonight, so in spite of all the challenges.
We're in the way of the celebration. Let's go down to Tyler.
Coach, anytime you pitch a shutout, you got to be pleased. What impressed you about your defense today?
Man, I challenged those guys at halftime and before the game. I wanted a shutout. They gave it to me. Simple as that. I'm excited, man. The kids stepped up to the plate big time tonight, and they came to play. They knew it was at stake. This was, basically for first place, and they wanted it. They came out, they dominated it, and that's all to say, basically. That's all to say.
You guys,
I'm proud of my guys tonight. I'm proud of them.
You guys had to play through a monsoon. How would you evaluate how these guys handle the adversity of the weather tonight?
I think, honestly, they handled adversity great. We didn't expect to have rain, and it changed the game plan a lot. But we came up with it, let the kids know, hey, ground and pound cake, no milk. That's what we say around here at McKinley, and that's exactly what we did.
Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Coach.
This is for you guys.
Thank you, fellas.
Guys, back up to you in the booth.
Thanks, Tyler. Great job all night long down there with those conditions. I think everyone trying to get a handle on that trophy here tonight. Congratulations to the Macs of McKinley. This is a group, Scott, to be reckoned with. Moving forward as they pose for the money shot for us here one last time tonight.
I just enjoyed working with you. Great game, and I was very happy for Coach Davis and his crew. Great team all around.
All right, let's take a look at our matchup coming up next week here on Thursday Night Lights. Hamburg and Kenmore East. Should be a good one. That's coming up next Thursday, 7 o'clock. Hopefully better weather for those that are going to be at the game. Doesn't matter when you're sitting at home, wherever you watched from tonight. Nice and dry probably on your couch tuning in for tonight's action. All of us would like to take a moment to thank our wonderful sponsor partners tonight from the law office of William Mattar, Stellar Roofing, Aesthetic Associates Center, and the University at Buffalo, who through their contributions to the program make these games possible for you viewers at home. We'd like to thank as well our great sponsor supporters for their contributions of our 2025 Thursday Night Lights telecasts as well. Celebration might go well into the night. Don't forget, it's still a school night, fellas. Yep, there's the story. The wet weather tonight at McKinley prevailed. They not only knock off Williamsville East, the rain maybe helped douse the Flames tonight. A 28-0 final score for Scott Pilkey, Tyler Millen, and our outstanding crew. Thanks for tuning in to the law offices of William Mattar's Thursday Night Lights, presented by Stellar Roofing, a Sports Fever television network production. Good night, everyone.
All of us would like to take a moment to thank the wonderful sponsor partners, William Mattar, Stellar Roofing, Aesthetic Associates Center, and the University of Buffalo, who through their contributions to the program make these games possible for you viewers at home. We'd also like to thank our other great sponsor supporters for their contributions to our 2025 Thursday Night Lights telecasts. And we especially like to thank tonight's participating high schools and their administrators for their continued support.